Live on Twitter. We are live on Twitter, boys.
Still coughing.
So we're waiting for Peanut to tweet this out, Keith. I like the respect. Hats off. Hats off.
Peanut's taking a knee.
We're live. We're live, boys. Here we go. Okay, we good?
Yeah, is he still in the mix? Kaepernick? Are people still looking at him?
Are you ready? Are you ready?
Well, welcome to the Meta Sports League studios and the DigiFan podcast. We are short a member today, but this is going to be epic, boys. We've got Wags. We got JC and Peanut. L. Teagues has got something going on. And I'm Doc. And I think
it's called an STD.
I think this is gonna be a talker today. I have a feeling Wags has come with some heavy shit, boys.
I've got some artillery here. I've got an unreal story I want to share, but I'm not gonna.
Oh, that's tough.
Come on. It's
a hell of a tease.
Well, it happened to me today.
Yeah, what happened to you?
Have you guys ever dropped a deuce?
Oh no!
Oh God! And we're starting here.
And this, and this thing is insanely impressive, and you kind of can't wait to see what you left behind.
Oh God!
And the thing disappeared.
And then I walk in.
No. You did, but it disappeared. Where did it go? And then you start saying, "Did I really do that, or didn't I?"
It was still alive.
It was still
No, it just slithered down the hole.
It had some life.
Can you believe? Have you ever had that?
Good
It
grief!
was probably a little shy.
Oh my god, a little.
You've
stab.
had it happen.
The disappearing turd.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You've had I've had the anacondas before, but I'm not sure about disappearing.
What's that?
Rappers, the ones that wrap around. Or
Oh.
the wrap around.
Yeah, I had one that wrapped around and came up. I got a picture of a guy from the Middle East in a clarinet bringing the snake up out. I went side by side. I sent it to my kid and his buddies. They loved it.
Oh boy!
Or so they said.
Doc, I think there's some pent up energy from last week.
I do.
We didn't get to do a show last week.
I know we were missing.
I know.
We were missing a big tempo. Here we
Sorry,
are.
I didn't mean to. L. Teagues would be done. He'd be walking out right now.
Yeah, he'd be in the car.
Okay, I've got a little bit of a special show here.
You said you got something.
okay.
I'm looking forward. I mean, there's obviously lots of things to cover, but I wanted to start off with this, and then some of these talkers of what we're going to do will kind of lean in on some of the teams of what's going on and what we can talk about.
Sure.
So I've got a series of 7 questions that I'm going to ask, and I want to hear answers from each of you
All right.
on your impression. Okay? Peanut. Which Minnesota team will win its first title? And I'm talking of the men because the women have already gotten it done.
Yeah, I was gonna go with the Lynx. That was gonna be my my cop out. So who's gonna be the
first
next?
men's pro sports team of the 5.
Or the next.
Yeah, who's gonna be the next
The,
one?
the Twins have 2.
That was like a lifetime ago.
That was.
So the first team of the 5.
First
To
team-
win what? To win a chip?
To win a
Yeah.
championship.
So we're going around the horn.
Okay.
We'll go Peanut, Doc,
Okay.
JC, and then
Okay,
I'll
okay.
close up.
the
Go.
best odds for a team to win a championship. Honestly, I'd probably have to go with the Vikings.
Back that up.
Back it up. Okay, so historically, obviously they've laid goose eggs every time, but they know what it takes. As you know, I believe just in terms of the culture and the history of the organization of what it takes to get there. You know, you've had different coaching staff who have had success that have had won at high levels. So I think there's a good chance that they would make it back. And
Who will win it first, the Detroit Lions or the Minnesota Vikings in your world?
I think there's a better chance for the Lions to win.
I would agree. I think the Vikings are doomed, haunted.
Oh my God!
Doomed Hunt.
What?
No
So
chance.
I would say that
in
just
my lifetime,
based-
it won't happen.
Based on history, though, and
I
them
do
getting
not
there,
believe that
I
at
think
all.
that they do have a good chance to actually get there, and I do think at some point that they are going to finally get over the hump. But if it's in your life, I don't know.
Fair enough.
I think
Okay,
I think
that's
it-
your pick.
Yeah,
How
that's
much
my
long-
pick.
How much longer
How
do you
about
have
you, Doc?
Wags?
I don't know.
Is the last minute of play in the
I
period.
think we
Are
have
you
to
done
end
with
it.
this one?
I think we have to end the program.
Why?
Just kidding.
Because I said they're doomed and haunted?
Yes, 100%
How
the
are they
Vikings.
not?
100% the Vikings. The Vikings, look what they did with a subpar offensive line and a throwaway quarterback. Now we got JJ, who I believe in him. I believe I believe that kid is a winner. He's
I'm already loving what
he's an
people are saying about him.
ADHD kid that can hyper focus, and all he
Who'll
needs
blow
is
out another
structure. All he needs is structure. He's not gonna blow out a knee.
Okay.
We got. Honestly, like, how could you not have a better off season in free agency than Kwesi's had?
They clearly had an incredible offseason. There's no question about it. And, I think the one thing is, obviously, we know they said they're going to address the interior lines on both sides, but, I think the Mason pickup at back, and I love bringing in Jones, which is good. Seems to me like they've shored up the cornerback position as well with some size as well at corner. And then obviously Harrison Smith coming back at safety is going to be a big deal to the continuity of the defense. I mean, totally agree, but I just that franchise is, God love them. I think the Lions win it before the Vikings do.
God, no way. They lost Ben Johnson.
And
the only guy that has
that's a fair argument.
that has like some.
But now we got to deal with the Bears. Now the
cranium.
Bears are going to be good.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I was thinking about saying the Wild, but even you guys knowing hockey very well too, I would say it's going to be a very high risk, high reward where, maybe they take some sort of wild shot here in the next couple of years and maybe they get close. But I also know that, the world of hockey is just, it's so uber competitive, and to even find a little bit of a window there is, it's something else.
Peanut, it's going to be a long hour. Can you grab that toilet paper there? I got to blow my nose.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, Jeff, who's yours?
The beauty of that question is, I think that, and I'm sure you thought of this, is
brother.
they're all in a position to make a run.
Fair.
The Timberwolves are better than they've been in a long time,
for sure.
and they have
Accurate.
a lot of young talent. Great bench at the moment. It's going to be fun to see what happens in the next month or so. The Wild have exceeded expectations in the last year, despite the salary cap issues.
Despite the injuries.
And injuries, of course, yeah. And losing our superstar, really. He's played half the season the last 2 years.
That's problematic.
And so, yeah, it's problematic. But I feel like they're poised sometime in the next 2-3 years to make a run. Just like the Wolves, I think, are poised for a couple of years.
Pick one.
The Vikings are, I think, the best organization that we have as far as, up top front office.
Agreed.
Players.
Right now.
Facilities.
Right now,
that's a team that, they're not coming here. That's for sure. Rodgers wants to come here, where sometimes the cold weather or whatever makes this place not as attractive. The Vikings are a very attractive scene for a professional football player. Now, you guys talk about Kwesi. The last two drafts, last year's was good with J.J. McCarthy and
Dallas Turner.
Yeah, Dallas Turner, we think. But 2022 and 23, not that great. The linemen that we're talking about that we just replaced were both part of the 2022 draft. Now they're both gone. But I think the Vikings, with their coaching staff, their ability to get more out of less, I think it's them as well.
I think the draft can be a little bit overrated. There's a million
be
different
too.
ways to build teams. Some seem to do better in the world of free agency. This would be
course,
one of them.
yes.
Some seem to draft better.
They just have
But
good
you need to hit on a lot of players in a lot of different positions, and it's a crapshoot. So I think, yes, the draft could be better, like the results.
2022, we
don't even know if J.J. McCarthy can play a full season at the NFL level. We don't even know what that looks like right now. Dallas Turner's returns were mid at best last year.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
We don't know there either, but let's pretend.
But he's an
that those guys will
immature.
work
He's an
out.
immature guy. Like, he's got a
He's
year
young.
or two to grow into
He's
his.
young.
Yeah.
You mean physically?
Physically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your selection, who's going to win the title? Did you say Vikings?
Yeah, I think it would be the Vikings.
I'm going to
just-
go.
I-
I'm going to
Definitely
go.
not the United.
I just
I'm
and
gonna-
I don't
wow,
think that, I don't
hating on the Loons.
I don't think the Twins will really have enough either. I think all things considered, when you look at, again, how
Oh, maybe mine might give that away.
okay, go ahead then.
Okay. What's your take?
Well, thanks for letting me play. I'm kidding.
I thought you were just the host.
Do you actually-
just the
I
host
thought you were
has-
just asking questions.
Just the host has
we didn't think you
maybe
got the
best
answer.
takes on the show.
I don't
think
think
the
we.
Twins?
no.
okay.
I'm going to go Timberwolves.
Okay, interesting.
Okay.
And I'm going to run kind of parallel to something Jeff said about the best ownership in town. I think once
A-Rod
this
and
thing, well,
Lori?
let's see. Let's give them a fair shake.
Yeah.
Once this thing shakes down, there's rumors that they'll have a building somewhere in the suburbs, or maybe somewhere in the north. I mean, they want, or in the North Loop, or somewhere. Who knows? That there's
Like a new stadium.
Why are you shaking your head?
You know where they're going?
I just don't.
They're
like
going
the,
Shoreview.
the new owner.
That's what I'm hearing.
leveraging The,
I think they're going Shoreview. They're going up
Yeah.
where the Vikings were looking.
I'm worried about downtown.
That space. Okay. So I don't care where the building is. I don't care what it is. It's a building that will probably fuel the beast for some time. So I think, because you talked building U.S. Bank, I'm going to talk building Timberwolves, future, maybe Target Center Plus, maybe whatever it is. Maybe they create a new building, whatever it would be. But I think this team by far, for me, if Nas goes after this year, that's problematic.
Yep.
And there's rumblings of that.
There has been.
That they can't afford him, or that he doesn't want to be here. I don't know if that's the case, or he wants the money. I'm not saying that he doesn't want to be here. I don't have any proof
that
of
would
that.
be interesting, considering like his journey that he's had with us.
Well,
But,
I mean,
like,
the
but
community
maybe,
It'd be
loves it.
hard to believe.
but he's not the man.
I see yard signs with his picture on it.
But
Yeah.
maybe he feels like he's ready to be the man, and he's not the man. He's not going to be here. It's not going to happen.
Best
not with
sixth
Rudy.
man in the league.
I
As
think-
long as Rudy's here, so I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
I mean, so at some point, there's going to have to be. If he wants to elongate his career and make as much possible money as he can in his career, he's going to want the opportunity to be the man. And none of us in
For
this
that
room can
window.
say, I don't blame you for that, because that's your career and that's what you do. And so I'm just saying it's possible that we all want him here and we want him to sacrifice, but he might need to take care of himself too, and that's a
It's-
problem.
yeah, it's
So
very
Well, he'd be attracted
so that
if they could
hangs,
win.
That kind of that sort of lurks for me in this prediction, but let's pretend he's here.
Yep.
Okay, and you have pretty much this roster intact. What
Which I'm actually very in favor of, considering their young talent that could continue to
that
blossom.
second five that they have is really good.
Yep.
And I think they've proven it in the games that they've played and the situations they've been brought in. Not always mop up.
Mm-hmm.
They've been very good. The one thing that I've learned about this team is they're going to be in the play-in. Let's just divorce ourselves from the thought that they're going to get the 6th seed.
No,
You
they're gonna get the 5th seed, 5th or 6th.
Zero chance.
Agreed.
Zero.
No,
Negative
no.
chance.
Fifth
So there's
seed.
So there's zero chance to get the
They're
5th
not
or
gonna
6th
get it.
seed. Zero.
No, they're
Okay.
They're going to fight for 7 or 8.
So what happens when they get 5th or 6th?
You're right. Yeah, I mean, here's the problem.
He just has to concede.
If
Wags
they
just has to concede.
No,
then.
but I mean, but they're not gonna, because you cannot lose to teams like the Pelicans.
True.
You cannot lose to teams like Washington. You can't lose to every single team below you in the standings and expect to be a 6th seed. How? What are you talking about?
What?
I mean, stop! You have to win those games, and you watch those games,
see.
and you watch what they do and the defensive activity that they have against the good teams, the Denvers of the world, the Lakers of the world. Even at the time, they kind of buried the Suns. That kind of finished them. They were active. That was a decision. They were focused. Come against the Pelicans, it's like, we can't stop a beach ball. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you can't expect to be a 6th seed as an organization if you can't beat shit teams.
Yeah. And
So
I was,
what
I was
point-
at I was at that game
Once in a while,
and it's
maybe.
not like the Pelicans, were a sneaky comeback team. They let them hang the entire time with them.
The turnovers were despicable.
So let me ask you: is like
Now,
And
shore
I-
that up. Shore
I-
that up.
okay? Go ahead.
Shore that up, and I think they're the ones that do it.
Wow.
I think.
Do you think it's a coaching piece? Is there a coaching
I think.
sliver?
I honestly,
is there a
I think
sliver
it's
of
a mat-
coaching?
Nah. I mean, let me throw that. I'll answer this my way, and let's decide what that is. I think it's a maturity piece. I think that sometimes guys think they're so good that they don't have to do the things they have to do to get to where
And-
they need to go. And they need to mature and understand that you have to do that every single night, because those guys across the court from you are professionals.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
belong in the league.
Agreed.
Nobody's
Agreed.
beneath you. And collectively as a group, it just feels like they say, not tonight's the night off. It's not, because they will bury you, because they're pros. If they can get past that, they didn't do that last year.
Are you pointing a tiny little finger at Ant? Or
For
what?
sure.
I'm not pointing at any one person.
Okay.
I'm saying it looks like it's a collective.
Culture.
But he doesn't
It's the whole group.
he doesn't come to work with his hard hat on. He's having fun out there trying to like be clever, fun, creative, but he doesn't like come to work.
Well, the game they lost in OT, right, against a good Indiana team. He was slashing to the rim, taking fouls, throwing up free throws left and right, and paying the price. And then he thinks he's got a night off against the Pelicans, and he starts throwing 3 balls all over the target center. But he's not alone. I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying, but that's everybody. It just feels there's just like a lot. There's not a lot of care on the ball. They just turn it over. Yeah. How many turnovers do they have against the Pelicans? I mean, it was insane.
A lot.
Quite a few.
My God! Like,
let me look it up.
those are things you can control and things you can't control.
Right. No,
and your focus and effort does matter.
Yeah.
And so, but I think if they have that in order, I think just from a coaching, I love the coaching, from the coaching
14.
to the ownership group to that's a big number, to the personnel, to the depth of the personnel, I think they're in the best position. Doesn't mean they will, but I think they are.
But
So
hold on, Peanut. Let me get your take. Do you think they are actually in the best position
Do I think they're in the best position? No.
to win a chip?
They have a strong case. It's more I'm worried about. So I'll say this: when it comes to the Vikings, yes, they've had their blunders, they've had their woes. They've historically been very lucky in one-score games since Kevin O'Connell's been the head coach of the Vikings. I'd have to look back and see. I bet they've had, in the last couple of seasons, 20 plus one-score games. It's something probably pretty insane. But they've shown the ability to actually execute and win. It's usually been them going down with the swing. And you see the Timberwolves, who again historically have had these losses where it's just like they don't show up. It looks like they're not going down with it just looks like it's lackluster. There's just a lack of effort, and that's more of a concern where I don't feel as confident that the Timberwolves could actually win something relative to the Vikings. So I was just looking. We got the last 11 games. They got another game tonight against the Pelicans. And then they have 3 more this month, 7 in April. So we're coming down to the crunch where I was even looking at the standings, and they have 4 games separated from themselves and the Lakers, who are in the number 4 seed right now. So we'll see. We'll see where we're able to shake it out.
I think long term, I think it's harder to put it all together from a health perspective in the NFL.
Agreed.
And an execution perspective than it is the other sports.
Yep.
Now, it's probably more of a grind with 7-game series for the NBA and the NFL or in the NHL. I don't know how much depth do the Vikings have on some of those areas that they just pulled in. If they get injuries, I don't know. We right now going into the season, we have 2 quarterbacks here. You've got Rippon, and you've got J.J. McCarthy, who has 4 passes from a preseason game. Yeah. One of them looked great, and we all lose our minds, and it's sexual.
Yeah, but he's a winner. He's a fucking winner, dude.
I know he is, but I want to see him win in the NFL on week 11.
Gotcha.
When he's exhausted.
Wags, you'll love
and beaten
this.
Up.
Brady interviewed him and said he's never talked to a guy that reminded him more of himself.
Well, because he went to Michigan.
What a narcissist.
I like it. Doc loved that one.
And see, the thing, too, that I don't think a lot of people look at, you look at, again, all the talk that's going on with Rodgers right now, and, he was rumored.
Funny, that's the next question. Let's go there.
Well, yeah, let me hit this quick
That's
point,
question
and then
number 2.
we'll dive into it. Seeing all the rumors of where he's maybe going or not going, you look at even his tenure with the Jets and even, a little bit of the time, with the Packers too at different times, but it's all about, what's that culture, what's that dynamic like? And I think that's one of those things where even early on, just seeing what J.J. McCarthy, what the impact that he's had on
how many
other
MVPs does he have?
Who?
JJ.
Okay.
And how many Super Bowls has he played in?
Great point.
Okay.
Point being said, even early on, the leadership and the type of personality that J.J. McCarthy is, and again, just seeing different things from free agents coming in. Again, I know it's early. It, in the grand scheme, does it really matter? Maybe not.
Win a bruising game on week 11 and be healthy and be the second coming of our Lord and Savior, and then I'll start going with it. But right now, you've got an unproven commodity that we're throwing our chips into as a group and a fan base. We know nothing. We don't know what's going to happen.
But would it be all worth it?
But at the end
Do
of
you
the
want
day, you want to see those
do you want A-Rod as a
intangibles.
Viking or yes?
No.
A Viking, yes or no?
No.
Heck no.
Why?
Because that's
You
why
don't like him?
that's why I brought it up. His personality, his
Okay, you don't like him.
He's the
as
absolute
a person.
opposite of the culture that they built.
So
His
your guys,
character.
your
I think he's talented.
Your personal interaction with him is so bad that you can't stand him.
just the way that he carries himself, the way that he talks
Yeah,
about other people.
so
I'm just,
you-
I'm-
No,
that's
I
just
think-
not
You don't
someone that I
like
want.
him. You don't like him.
Hold on.
As a
Hold
person,
on. I think O'Connell knows him well enough that if he was the guy, he would have been the guy. But I get there could be some business decisions in there, and that Wags, you might be right. You might have to wait until they get Quasey
After
gets
June
clear
1st.
gets clear of something. But I just think he's like, my take is he's the absolute opposite of the culture that they've built, and so I don't see.
But we don't know that.
do we know? Do we
Well,
do we not know? Do we not know?
Here's what I think. I think that you've got a populace, a public that judges a person who goes on the McAfee show and he's eccentric and he does the dark retreat, which I actually saw that Netflix show and I thought it was really cool. I'd recommend. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen bits.
I think if you watch the whole thing, you understand the person. You go, cool. I did watch him very closely on Hard Knocks with the Jets, and I thought he did a terrific job with that team. I thought he did a terrific job as the group. I thought he interacted with the quarterbacks well, based off of what I saw on the thing. I don't know the man. I've never spoken to the man. I have no opinion of him as a person, other than
Yeah, you do.
Other than other than he's a damn. I mean, he's a reigning. He's an MVP multiple times.
100%.
He's a Super Bowl champion. He's been to the Super Bowl. The dude can sling. He was 200 yards shy of 4,000 last year. Come on, 28 touchdowns. That was good on a team that was not that great. So he still has stuff in the tank. I would rather have that leading this than a torn meniscus rookie we don't know anything about yet.
I know, but I think
For 1 year.
I get where you're going because it is exciting. Because
So I'm a yes.
if Rodgers is on the team, we are a Super Bowl contender for sure. But do you absolutely fucking blow up the rest of what you've?
I don't think you do with him. I mean,
You don't?
what are you blowing up? Just because your guys' perception is that he's a jerk or what?
So do you like?
No, that he can't relate to the.
How do you
to
know
the rest
that?
I don't. It's just.
It's not even. It's not even that.
I don't
It's not
know
even that.
What I'm saying
it's
is
not
he
even
can't
that.
relate to you guys.
So
or
let
to
me
the public,
ask you this.
But you don't know
Wags.
what it's like in the room.
Let me ask you this, Wags.
That's not a known commodity.
Is there? Because this could be true. This could be true. Like, do you think having Rodgers on the team is good for JJ?
I do.
Okay,
I do.
so that's the perspective. That's actually my
for me, I think it's
perspective.
awesome.
My perspective is I'm not sure, and that's why I don't want.
Got it.
So like, if he's good for JJ and JJ is cool, like being behind a first ballot All-Star, that's cool. But if it wrecks if it destroys that intrinsic thing that JJ's got, because I think JJ is the man.
There's
if
no
he stays
way,
healthy.
There's no way you can hang in this league for 20 to 21 years as a disaster in a room anywhere, let alone as long as you were in Green Bay.
You know what?
And so I don't buy any of that stuff. I think this is just people's caricature of a person they decide they don't.
They wanna
like.
hate. Yeah, they wanna hate.
100%.
Okay.
Now, if you're coming from Minnesota, it's because Green Bay doesn't hate Minnesota nearly as much as Minnesota hates Green Bay. Green Bay hates Chicago. We own your ass. Don't forget.
Okay,
that.
I'll say this.
That rivalry isn't even close.
I'll be honest.
In their world.
I've got a lot of Packer friends that would. I don't know. I think it's.
Do they live in Minnesota or do they live in Green Bay?
They live here.
Okay, if you live in Green Bay and you live in Wisconsin, on very good authority, your rivalry with Chicago is way hotter than the BS,
I agree with
than
that.
the BS that we've
I agree
created
with
here.
that.
But it's boring.
No, but the insecurity of the Minnesota fan is on complete
Minnesota
display
and Green Bay
when
are
it comes to
always
Green
good.
Bay. The Minnesota-Green Bay
I'll say
rivalry is Minnesota-driven, not Green Bay-driven,
Okay.
is what I'm saying.
But they're better teams.
All right.
generally,
Peanut,
at least
peanut,
in the last
peanut,
10 years.
peanut.
Final point, and it would be wrong for me not to
This
say
is
it.
fiery. This is
I
great.
love it.
This is
I think
great.
I think it's because of the fact. I'll be honest. He's a Green Bay Packers for a long time, and I know that was kind of the same thing with Brett Favre. And we're like, no, we don't want him. He came in, and that was actually a lot of fun. I'm not gonna lie. Having him come in and he played pretty great. Besides the whole, that's another can of worms with the whole,
I'll open it when
Saints,
it's my turn.
bounty or scandal
Yeah,
after him.
Justin, shut up.
But I'm not gonna lie. Part of that is that the fact that again he was a Green Bay Packer, and I'm just
so it's more of an emotional.
I would say that's part of it too.
That's
I'll,
fair.
I'll be honest.
I
I'll be
can
honest.
totally acknowledge you own up to that, and that's super cool. Cap is fully tipped.
I'll say when Favre came here, he had a mission. He was angry with the Packers, and I think that's why Minnesota embraced him. I will also say that when he was a Packer, he's one of my favorite players. Rodgers is a totally different guy than Favre, and I don't think he's not bitter against the Packers. He's an opportunist. He wants to come here because it looks like it's a pretty decent team.
I agree with that
and
for sure.
and it's 1 year.
Well, your boy Favre told him it'd be ridiculous not to come here.
Well, Favre, he
said that.
He wanted to beat the shit out of the Packers, and that's what I love.
Do you know
about him.
that for sure?
Yes.
You and I talked about
Oh
it.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did he tell you that?
Oh yeah. and I was
Having a beer.
Yeah.
He's
no,
on
okay.
speed dial.
He wanted to show.
He texted it
Well,
to
no,
him.
he said I want to go to Minnesota so I can play the Packers.
All I was a
2 times
picture
year.
of his.
Yeah,
I mean, that would be fun. I mean,
But as
you know,
far
these
as-
guys,
does-
these
does-
guys go to
is Ro-
places
is-
at that stage of their career where they have the best chance to win and win a Super Bowl.
he
And
was
that's why they
only
do it.
coming to Minnesota.
He,
It's
did,
the only
do you
team
think he
wanted.
came here because Chili was here? Do you think he came
No.
here?
No,
Oh, you don't think his old coach in Green Bay had anything to do with that?
no, I don't think he came
And,
here
and,
because
and
Chili
the
was here, is
offensive
what I'm saying.
coordinator who was from Green Bay. So you don't think the coaching staff that was peppered with Green Bay Packer personnel that he played with wasn't why he came here?
No, it's sort of like this.
100%.
It was sort of like this journey. Like the Packers sent him to the Jets because they didn't want him anywhere near the NFC North.
Ratting
He found a way to get here, and then he beat him twice. And it's just a great story.
That's a great story
Where
for the fans,
want
for sure.
I want Rodgers, though. The fans are what matters. I want Rodgers to hang around.
Why?
I want Rodgers to hang around because that's what it's about. But and
was about the
I don't
game.
I don't think he would be bad for JJ because I watched on his show, the documentary that he made, is that because Favre shut him out. Favre famously said, "I'm not here to train Aaron Rodgers," or something like that. Rodgers was put off by that. And they actually had a one-on-one where he said, "Hey, you didn't ask me to go hunting. You asked everybody else to go hunting."
Yeah, he was kind of hurt by that.
he
It's
was,
like
yeah.
kind of like.
Yeah,
He's been very open about that.
They didn't connect, and I think maybe Favre regrets it. But Rodgers said, because of that, I took a totally different approach with Jordan Love, and I think that he might be good for Rodgers. I just don't think that. I don't think
He might be good for JJ.
Yeah.
You're saying?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, he might be good for McCarthy because I think he takes an interest in mentoring. I think that
Okay,
Rodgers
so
thinks he's
you
the
might
smartest guy in the room.
You might convince me because the
agree with
only
that.
reason I don't want him here is if he's bad for JJ
Yeah.
and
I
bad
don't
for
think he's
culture.
bad at all for him, and I
Okay,
don't
you think
think
he's
they'd ever.
good?
Okay, you might
No,
turn. You
Chris,
might.
not
You
at
might
all.
turn me.
All right. So what's the next point after this? Do you have any final thoughts on this one?
No, well, I'll give you my. So I've kind of blended in my yes from the very beginning, but it's to your point. It's the way he was handled on his inception into the league and was shut out and didn't really appreciate that and was left to kind of fight for himself and just watch. I think it was, if you look at Jordan Love and how he plays, he has taken on a lot of characteristics, and he's a good one. And I think he just understands emotionally what is required to do the job. But I think if you want a signal caller that is going to be able to adapt to every type of run schemes that they're going to run, they're going to be doing more, and then be able to check off and do the things that he does. Yep. I don't know. Why would you say no to a Super Bowl champion, multiple Super Bowls, and an MVP?
I'd much
for a
rather,
year?
I'd
Fine.
much rather take Rodgers over Cousins, who was
Fine.
was rumored to be like eligible to rejoin the Vikings as a backup.
Wouldn't that be wild?
Right,
That
yeah.
would be. What do you got next? Skeet
Okay,
up?
next question. This is a good one. Doc, we'll start with you.
Okay, what do you got?
What is your all-time favorite sports moment in Minnesota history that you've observed or been a part of in your lifetime?
I mean, only Minnesota? It could be a Minnesota kid.
Sure. I'm looking more. More for our teams.
Oh, for your teams. Okay.
Wags is reserving the Minneapolis Miracle.
I mean, the best time I've ever had watching sports and with my kids was for sure the Minneapolis Miracle.
Yeah, that was
For
great.
sure. For sure.
Wasn't
by
that
far.
special?
It was so special. Like I spent the next 3-4 days watching clips of people running around, freaking out, jumping into their pools. Like, it was the most incredible moment. My kid's sitting on the couch crying again, like the damn Vikings, blah blah blah. He's
People
like
jumping into pools.
yeah. When he threw that pass and Diggs caught that and got free, we screamed so loud. My wife and daughter were in their bedroom. They thought we killed someone, and we were jumping. Like white men can jump. We jumped
Really?
so high. I had my 2 boys. We are just jumping and yelling and okay. So if that's the question about our teams, the all time biggest thing was my hero as a kid was Billy Baker, who was defensive end for the
fair enough.
1980 Olympics. They won it. He came to my school, showed the gold medal. That was a big deal.
That's
for me.
amazing.
That was a big deal for me. But like Minneapolis Miracle for sure.
Okay, the Billy Baker thing is great too, so that's a good 2-pronger. Couple quick follow-up questions to that miracle. Do you remember the scenario of, you're kind of like you're saying the kids had resigned themselves to the loss, but you're still going, well, let's see what happens.
Just hope among hope.
Yeah.
It's like,
do you remember the moment when he was, waltzing down the field and he looked over his shoulder? I had this moment of, I can't believe that happened.
oh, for sure.
It was amazing.
And then he's like this and throws his helmet and he's standing like
Sean
that.
Payton's never forgotten it.
Oh my God.
Hates Minnesota for it. Never mind that they high load.
It couldn't have happened to a
Never
nicer guy.
mind Bounty Gate, but yeah, you're a great dude. Okay, what's yours?
That was definitely a pretty pivotal moment that I remember. I'm just trying to think of all moments, whether it was college, pros. I mean, for me at the time, I was following I still follow the Lakers quite a bit as well, but seeing them win in the bubble was probably one of the more memorable moments for me. I started to get really invested into the NBA during my years of college, and so kind of seeing them, for a couple of years then, and then, the bubble, which was 20.
So you're referring to the Lakers, which were the Minneapolis Lakers, which would qualify for this.
Yeah, I would say, because there's the lineage at least time back. But yeah, seeing them win in the bubble, that was a pretty memorable moment for me. And then, gosh, I'm trying to think. Honestly, I can't think of too many other, there's been a lot of.
That's how dry it's been.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of great moments. I would say, gosh, what was it? The season that the Twins won? What they won? Was it 100 and something? 100 and something games.
Yeah, that was 106 maybe.
106. That was. I mean, just as I know that isn't a definitive moment per se.
Was that the M&M boys back in the day?
No, this was probably
This was 20.
More
early
recently?
20s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this was when I was in college. I believe it was 2017. I gotta double check and see.
Oh, okay.
But I remember they were on that crazy run that year, and everybody was like, I don't know, this doesn't seem right. But if we're talking about, again, maybe not a definitive moment, again, you said it's pretty dry, so I'd have to look back to a full season, and that was probably one of the most fun seasons I had watching any team in terms of in terms of what they were able to do with the home run ball too. It was unprecedented.
Yeah, Nelly Cruz was just tearing it up.
Yeah.
CJ Crone at first, he had 25 bombs. Who's this?
Yeah. Yep.
Crazy.
Yep.
How about you?
I'd like to go back to 1980.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and everybody knows about the miracle at the Met, which was the game the Vikings needed to win it to make the playoffs.
Oh,
And it was the play where Tommy Kramer dropped back
Yep.
and threw the Hail Mary ball up into the
Is
right.
that the Ahmad Rashad?
Yeah, the right-hand corner of the end zone, and it bounced off two people, and then Rashad, very eloquent. You should put it up on the screen.
Oh, God, I
he
love
reaches back and pulls it in, but it's the play before that, which I would suggest is if you ever watched this in 1980 when the Vikings pulled this off, Bud Grant calls this play where Kramer drops back, so they need to get into range to strike. So it's a 2-play drive,
Yep.
and the first play Kramer drops back and throws a ball to, I believe it was Joe Sensor.
A huge play.
And later on, Moss had this same play with Mo Williams, but Sensor catches the ball. It's a 10-yard catch. He catches it and quickly throws it over his shoulder to Ted Brown.
Oh, that's right.
To Ted Brown.
Oh, my God. I forgot about that play.
Who scampers about 25 yards.
After the catch?
Yeah,
Or
to
the handoff?
to set up the Hail Mary play.
Wow.
We got to pull it up. I mean, it's a sequence of 2 plays. Which that to me, I was just a very impressionable kid, and it was like it made me love football. The other one I'll mention that I was lucky enough to be at in 1991 was Kirby Puckett making that catch and then coming up to the plate in the very next at bat for the Twins and hitting it out of the park.
Oh, that's awesome.
That was a
One of the most
pretty unique
1-2
special
deals that anyone has ever accomplished in pro sports.
All right, that's awesome stuff. I sent you a video, Doc,
Okay.
in our DigiFan
Through text?
text. It's a X post. I would like you to pull that up. I'm going to date myself back to the same era, Jeff, and this is a moment for me which has been etched in my memory forever. By the way, just real quick, without one play, there's not the other on the Met Stadium. I mean, they're both.
Yeah.
You had not one, but 2 improbable plays.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's what made that.
It's like the Puckett thing.
Because there's
The
no
Puckett-
way
the Puckett
there's no way
thing-
he could have gotten it there if they didn't get that yardage.
Yeah, and Puckett was the same thing. It was a 1-2 punch. They happened within 10 minutes of each other.
Yep.
He saves, like, literally was Superman with the way he went up and caught that ball.
Yep.
And then his very next at bat, which is, in the next half inning, is he dongs it, and it's see you tomorrow night.
It is see you tomorrow. By the way, what I sent you, Doc, is not what I want played.
Okay.
Oh.
That was the wrong. Actually, you could play that later.
Okay.
But you
Is
need
that
to.
from RedTube?
No, you gotta play this one first when I get it to you. It's worth it, guys.
Zane, you got the next question queued up, or are we gonna?
Yeah, the next question's an easy one, but
Okay,
this
let's
is.
do it.
But let me get. I'm multitasking. I know I'm a drummer. I know you respect my skills. You just got to let me kind of grind through this because
gotta let you cook.
this is for the people. This is video. This is like what we're talking here.
Okay. Let's do it.
Maybe you sent it to me, Jeff. Whatever, forget it.
No, what is it?
It was.
We've got about 50 million.
The North Stars were 27-2, I think, all time at Boston Garden against the Boston Bruins, and they were. It was when the league had 17 teams, and 16 teams made the playoffs. One played 16 on down, and the North Stars were in the 8-9 spot, flip-flopping with Boston. The Mighty Mite John Winsink, a year prior or two, challenged the North Stars bench. He went like this and said, "Who wants me?" And they all stood there like bumps on the log, and no one jumped when you could jump to fight. And it was like the most embarrassing moment I have ever had watching Peril of Prosser and company staring out at him like, what do I do? I'm not going to fight. It was just so gutless, so bad.
Yep.
So I'm doing my history homework for 8th grade. And I've got my books out. Game starts, 8 seconds in, Bobby Smith and Steve Casper go. And if you listen to the play-by-play guys, they're going, "Oh, Casper's an agitator." Well, what they didn't understand is that the North Stars came in, every guy was going to fight. Okay? There were 406 minutes in penalties, an NHL record. There were multiple fights. Guys fought 1, 2, 3 times in the game. There were fights nearly underneath. It was wild. And I believe they tied that game, if I remember.
Okay.
For what would have been their third. Well, in a few short months, they'd have to meet in the playoffs. Yep. And they established it, and they won not Peanut their first, but their second game on Boston Garden ice because they were on the road as 9 seed.
Got it.
And they came back and swept them. Here. I mean, that is something I will never forget because I was as a 12-year-old just pissed that WinSync would do that and no one would do anything about it. And it said a lot about the organization. There were a lot of changes that went on, and they had a ton of good players. And then they go on, and not only did they sweep them, then they took out the Calgary Flames 4-2. And then they went on and took on the Islanders, who were the defending Stanley Cup champions. It was the first time I could see a Cup World Series live in person, and the Met Center was beyond words electric. I've never forgotten it. Mm-hmm. But to me, none of that happens if I don't have my history book and I'm watching those fights unfold at Boston Garden. Glenn Sonmore and the group, I think that had everything to do it. All right, now watch this first play. This is such a great point.
And there's nothing we can do about that quality. It's that grainy, right?
It's that grainy.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
I'm sorry, guys.
That's 1978 video.
Let's get
Fun fact: I got a photo with.
Catch the football. We're not going to create any penalties. And we'll tackle them.
Kurt Gowdy on the call.
They're kind of partially see
They're starting
him.
on the 20.
Hit pause. Hit pause. Hit pause.
They're starting on the 20.
I think this is Joe right here.
Where?
Yeah.
Where's
Joe
Sensor?
Sensor's
Well, you
either
can see,
here.
you can tell the way Sammy
here.
White lines up. Sammy
Joe
White on the
Sensor's
far
either
right.
I
here or
love
here.
Sammy White.
There's
Okay.
Sammy White and
Sammy-
Ahmad Rashad.
Sammy's in the 3-point stance, I believe, and that's Ahmad standing on the 2. And that's probably Terry LeCount to the right of him.
Okay.
But
Do you want me to go a little ways and
Just go.
just go.
Yeah, that's Joe on the low bottom. He looks right over the middle. Joe.
pitch?
He just like
Woo!
What execution!
he barely caught it.
Let's go back.
Yeah, wind it back one more
Watch
time.
this. Okay, it barely hits his hands. And
He
just
like
pushed it.
he just pushes it.
He fed it right to him. Boom. See that?
It's just a great play. Moss did that. He threw it over his shoulder to
But
Mo
look where he
Williams.
got to.
Yeah. With
5
seconds. Look at Sam Rutigliano who goes, what the hell was that?
Love the Rutigliano. So, hit pause.
Teddy pulled a hammy. This kid played pro hockey.
Hit pause. So Joe Sensor was a second-round pick of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah,
you know
that's
that?
right. Yeah, Westchester State.
And he had a choice to make, pro football or pro basketball. He has really good hands. He changed the tight end position. There was nobody in the league. He, Kellen Winslow.
Also a basketball player.
He and Kellen Winslow were probably 1A, 1B of the athletic tight end that paved the way for bigger 6'5", 6'6", not just, catch the ball, 5-yard cloud of dust type thing.
Ozzie Newsome.
Ozzie, those three. Okay, go ahead. So this is Jeff's all-time moment right here.
I love it. This is one of the best plays of all
Are you
time.
taking it back to your childhood now? There's no way he gets it there if they don't advance that 30, 40 yards.
No.
Art Modell.
Peanut, you got to see this. You
Art
got to see this.
Modell is
Peanut.
worried, and you can see why.
He midnight moved him. A field goal
So
would win
great.
it, but let's go for the touchdown. Yeah, it's Terry LeCount, Sammy.
Look at her taking that out.
And that game meant Cleveland season was over and Vikings advanced.
Yeah.
Oh, God, how pissed is he? Wow.
That's Bud Grant right there, man. I give him a lot of credit. Or Burnsy.
That was a big deal.
Well, Jerry Burns
Listen to
was probably the,
Kurt Gowdy losing his mind. That was great. Okay, next question.
Yeah.
Ready? Honorable mention for me would be Minneapolis Miracle for sure.
Yep.
But I was debating between these two. It was the Minnesota. I mean, this is 1A, 1B. Can I do that? It's the Minnesota Wild, 2 years in as an expansion franchise, and they run all the way to the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
And they're playing. Remember we'd get down 3-1, first to Colorado, then to Vancouver. In the Colorado series, to make it 3-2, I think it was 3-2 or whatever it was. Richard Park scored an overtime goal.
Park, yeah.
I had season tickets, and I was like right on from him, and I could see the blast from the right point go through. Like, I have never had, as a sporting fan, that much joy. And then to dovetail that, when Andrew Brunette basically retired Patrick Waugh for his last
Yes.
game with that move in slow motion when he went to Old Faithful and beat him on the backhand for the win in that series. And then the whole Bertuzzi thing, you will eat this up for sure.
I've hated
There will be no
Bertuzzi
game
since
6.
then.
Oops. And then they beat them as
Oh
well.
my gosh.
So that was my one MLB. Okay, next question. How much time do we have, Doc?
We got time.
There we go. We got a little bit of time.
Are you or are you not going to buy Twins.tv, Peanut?
No.
Why?
No, I think it's
He's
just,
head bobbing me.
Yeah, like honestly, why? Like, is it?
it's just a mess. This where I feel like internet and cable packages are nowadays for one, and then having
All the add-ons.
Well, yeah, there's just so many add-ons to think that to pay another something for something else, and it's already the prices that it's
So
at. and
you're
already,
not that big of a baseball fan where you can live without watching Twins baseball.
I mean, I'll find other ways to watch it.
How many games will you go
Don't
to
say
in a
that in
season?
front of me.
I
Probably
know.
the wrong guy.
Probably the wrong guy.
Streaming career.
I know.
But
Hey, there's a-
mogul.
there's a- there's a time-
how many,
Streaming mogul.
There's a
How
time
many
and place
games
I'll
will you
support
go to?
people like Wags. What was that?
how many games will you attend at Target Field?
At Target Field?
Yeah.
Maybe one.
Okay.
Okay, would you buy
Maybe a couple.
Twins.tv?
You know what I will do, though? I'll answer a different question. How many St. Paul Saints games will I probably go to? Probably 4 or 5.
Okay.
I'll still support, but I like going and getting a little bit more value for my dollar,
Probably
too.
about the same price.
Okay, Jeff, how about you?
Oh, Saints games, you can get way more for your money, though.
Bang for your buck?
Yeah.
Twins.tv.
How much is it?
$20 a month.
Yeah, I'd do that for sure.
I'm doing it too.
Yeah.
How about you, Doc?
Um,
There's also enhanced.
Not, but just during the
but-
season.
but
So
you're-
you're talking less than $100
Yeah.
for the season. Yeah, I'll do that.
Well, the season's $100,
Okay.
and if you want all of MLB, it's like $179 or something like that.
They do that.
Yeah, if you want every major league game, you can have it.
But the Twins are the only team has a streaming package that's
No.
offered by them, right?
No. There's Arizona, Minnesota, Texas. Eventually, it's what it's going to be for everybody, and it should be, I think. Doc,
I think I would do it. I mean, I tend to like.
I mean, if you were,
I got all the okay. So if you look at my cable package, it's always I just don't want to miss out on anything.
It's always more.
I pay way more. I pay way more for shit than I
But it's
even should.
I know.
It's always more each month. That's the thing.
I know that's the problem.
yeah, I'm a definite yes on that, and I'm really excited because they're bringing in new angles. We're kind of getting the MLB treatment. Oh, is this the one I sent you?
Met Center.
This was the,
How many concerts do we go to there?
Rush was my first one, 1982.
The Cars for me. AC/DC, Billy Idol. All
I saw REO Speedwagon there.
Really
Van
good show.
Halen.
Is there any volume on this?
There is actually. I didn't know if you wanted it.
good times.
Where are we? Oh, okay, you're just referencing.
Well, you've heard it said before, Gary, so many times that it's great playing in front of your home fans, and the word is out all over the National Hockey League that this has got to be the noisiest building in the entire league.
Even Chicago Stadium.
Well, it's because they're real hockey fans.
No, it's just because we've been so absolutely wounded and never win, so they just lose their minds. 90% of these people didn't have season tickets. Seriously, opportunists everywhere. But just scroll ahead a little bit to the intros. You might appreciate it.
You know the
Yeah,
intro?
it's worth seeing.
Okay.
Oh, is that all there was on that?
No,
Yes.
I
Yeah,
had,
scroll
I had
ahead to
already-
right about the midway. Right. You just go. Yeah, just so you can.
Defense number 10, Gordy Roberts.
Yes.
Gordy Roberts.
Look at this. Is
Look at
classic.
that.
He
Look at
died.
that freaking beauty.
He
Look at that beauty.
He died last year.
No.
Wing number 14, Brad Palmer.
Did nothing but had the big bomb. He had one goal that mattered in the playoffs.
Number
Here he comes.
15,
Here he comes.
Bobby Smith.
Oh, Bobby Smith.
Legend.
Yeah. Love that schnoz. Just
Number
Just the best.
16,
What a
Mike
dude.
Woolridge.
What a dude. He's just such a nice guy. Bob Smith.
Center number 17, Tim Young.
Steve Kristoff.
Yeah, you'll hear him. This was
was Dino on this team?
This was-
Number 20,
here it comes.
Dino
There we
This
go.
guy, legend, Minnesota sports legend, right
Cicerelli.
there. So awesome.
Remember, he got ticketed for taking the garbage out in the node.
Why do you bring that up? Like, what the fuck? Like, why do you have to do that? Like,
Hot button.
like we could talk about 600 goals or 500 goals, and he goes, "Remember the ticket again?" Don't get it.
I loved it.
I didn't.
Steve did.
Oh, you love. I thought you said you loved it for Dino. There's your boy, Richfield's own. Ooh, they missed Joe Malash. That's Joe Malash. They missed him. Chili.
Oh, they didn't announce Jill?
He'll get him later when he figured out he screwed it up.
Is that Henry Boucher? It came out in the wrong order.
All right, there we go. Here it is.
Wow.
Oops. He was a rookie. He was 18 years old right there.
No way.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
18-year-old rookie of the year. He's really good, man. He was fun. He was on fire. Okay, next question.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
Yeah, I'm happy to buy Twins TV. Jeff,
Who's the entertainers on Twins TV?
which don't know. Which rivalry is the best of all the Minnesota sports teams all time?
All time. Man, that's tough.
I'm gonna have to go with the Viking Packers.
Yeah,
It's the one that's got the deepest roots.
I would say. Yeah, I can't think of something that's even close.
Oh, you guys are boring. Okay, go ahead.
You can't use the same one twice.
Okay, I'll think of a
I'm
different one.
trying
If
to
that's the one you
think-
want. That's the one you got. That's the one you got. It's fine.
I'm trying to think one that
You know what?
compares.
It doesn't have to be
Actually, you know what?
lasting. It
Here-
was like
actually, I
intensity.
do have a different one. At least in my eyes, since I've, been a sports fan, I would say one that I think is actually pretty deep that I've really come to dislike in some ways. I know this is a double-edged sword because I do have some friends on the East Coast that really do like the Yankees. But the Yankees and the Twins, I think, has been a
Good
rivalry
call.
that's always
Good
been
call.
very deep-rooted because they have always
It
busted.
can only be a rivalry if you win, though.
True.
There's been some times that we've won. There have been
But
some
you'll say
games.
matchups. Okay, that's fine.
Matchups,
That's fine.
but then-
that matchup excites you.
That matchup excites me
Okay.
because they have had our number for all the playoff series that we've gotten absolutely just smoked in.
How about you?
I mean, there was some Blackhawks wild stuff, but
Yeah.
not really.
At different points.
I will just say recently, Wolves in Dallas was kind of like, I thought that was fun, but it just for me, it's just got to be the Packers Vikings.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna throw a bunch out here that are to me like the Vikings Packers thing is you got to have some reciprocation, and I don't think we have enough reciprocation from Green Bay. That's a Minnesota thing, in my opinion. To me, the greatest rivalry in this market ever: Stars Hawks. Secord sucks. Belfour sucks. Dino sucks. North Star suck. Blackhawks suck. Fights in the pregame, intensity, Chicago Stadium, like on their feet for the
Yeah,
first
and that's
10
probably
minutes.
why the Wild
That's
Hawks thing
it
wasn't
just fizzled
as-
because the Hawks sucked for so long, and then they got good, and then the Wild have just been mid. So it's just sort of like, okay. So for me, it's Stars Hawks, not even close in this market. I agree with you, Doc, in that Dallas Minnesota thing was a budding rivalry from the playoffs, and that's where these things are spawned from. And then the Stars Hawks rivalry came out of a 1979 series or 78 series that they had, and the Hawks won that series, and it got kind of heated, and that took off for a decade plus, which was one of the greatest in NHL history, for sure. I mean, you could put Hartford, Boston in there. You could put Montreal, Boston in there. Quebec, Montreal, those were great too. Calgary and Vancouver, Calgary and Edmonton. We don't say Calgary when we talk hockey.
Calgary.
But I would suggest that now that Luka has gone from Dallas,
Right, it's a
kind of takes
different
that
thing.
bite
Yep,
out of it
totally.
a little bit. But I think the real good one for the Wolves would be any team that Draymond Green is on when Cat was here is always a good thing. I would also say from the Wolves that Denver Nuggets thing, they got to win some games for it to be a rivalry because that's kind of not what's going on right now. But that's got some teeth to it. definitely. And then from a Twins perspective, I absolutely loved the Twins and the A's going at it for the American League West. What was it,
Back
Jeff?
in
Should
the
we
day.
say 87,
Yeah.
86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91? Those two were the top two teams in the West, and they were rotating back and forth with who was winning it. And the pitching staffs were. It was just
Who was the
that was a
reliever?
fun
Dan.
rivalry.
Who was the reliever? Dan for the A's.
At that time. Well, they had
Eckersley.
Eckersley.
Yeah, they had
that's what it was.
Eckersley,
Yeah.
Dennis Eckersley. That's right.
Dennis, yeah.
They had Mike Norris. I like that rivalry. I thought that was really good from a baseball
Catfish.
perspective. Well, that's going back.
That goes back a little
That's
ways.
the 70s, and the Twins were
With Vita Blue. I mean,
They were
the
okay.
A's were like, they're hard not to like. They were so damn good.
There's
So
nothing,
then, what's at the top of your list?
for sure, Stars.
The
Hawks.
Vikings
What?
and whoever
Stars,
Sean
Hawks.
Payton coaches.
North Stars, Blackhawks.
Okay.
No question.
yep.
Any team Sean Payton coaches for me with the Vikings. 100%. That's absolutely called out. Okay, next question.
I always like the. I watch a guy for that's Purple for the Win guy. He's got a little clip that's like the drum, douche, and then Sean Payton's picture, douche.
Comes right up. Are you leading that chant?
No,
Okay.
but I can't stand the guy.
Okay. Which venue of the
I think he
professional
should
venues?
be kicked out of the NFL.
Which venues of all of the professional venues that are here in Minnesota offers the best in-game experience / accommodations? Go. I know what you're gonna say.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's an obvious one, I think.
The team you finger bang.
Oh boy.
Whoa.
Sorry for any kids listening out there.
I mean,
Oops. Sorry. U.S. Bank.
it beats the shit out of Crazy George at the Metrodome.
So you like U.S. Bank?
Yeah.
Vikings?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's. You don't even have to be in your seat. Just being there is so cool.
So Vikings.
Yeah.
U.S. Bank.
For
Doc?
sure, Vikings. Yeah, I took my kid there. We had and it was the game where we lost to Chicago like 12-13 or something like that.
Oh.
But it was such a great game just being there.
So fun.
And on a nice day, the plaza is just
Yeah.
so fun and so great. Douche.
Sorry.
All right.
Had to put that out there.
I'm distancing myself. I'm distancing. How about you?
Favorite? I mean, I've always enjoyed being at the bank. I've also really enjoyed the XL. You know, I've always enjoyed the time there. And then even with, I mean, honestly, I think a lot of the stadiums.
He
and
still
arenas
has
that we have-
nostalgia for the dome.
I do, and I brought that up a while ago. I still had nostalgia for the Dome. I enjoyed actually a lot of Gopher baseball games, college baseball games there, for the times that they were there. And then
Rollerblading.
there you go. And then
Remember?
honestly, I've really
I never did that.
I really like the overall environment and just I would say the environment and the culture of even Mariucci for the Gophers.
Oh,
Gophers
yeah.
hockey.
Hey,
I
good
mean,
call.
that's just-
Good call.
You know, one of my fun experiences at the Metrodome that I'll never forget was when they came home from Detroit after winning their first series in '87. We were at the U.
Did you go?
Yeah, and they came back and they surprised the players. The Metrodome filled up. They just opened up the doors and we just scuttled over from the U of M, and the place was like half full. And the Twins just thought they were taking the bus home. Believe it or not, they took a bus. It must have been from the airport, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they take the bus in to bring them to their cars at the Metrodome, and they roll the bus right into the Metrodome, and the place is half full. And they didn't tell the players what was happening. And they just came home to that reception. It
Yeah,
was,
Juan Berenguer had the overcoat on.
Juan,
My in-game environment goes very simply. I'm just going to do a process of elimination. I'm going to eliminate one, and then the rest are great. The one that wasn't mentioned, I've never experienced it, but I've asked a few people this, and Allianz by far gets the number one ranking over everything.
I've been there many times, and it is different than anything else.
But number one?
You'd forget. You'd forget.
Really?
You'd forget you're in St. Paul when you're there.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
And I do have to say that as well because I did experience one of my first games, not last season, the season before, so maybe it was 2023, and I thought it was great. Like once you actually get inside of the stadium, in terms of the overall, you talk about electricity and that's really what I have liked about the XL too. Even for I didn't play hockey growing up, but like I've always appreciated what hockey has to offer because a lot of kids.
Do you feel like you're in Europe, or what do you feel like?
I mean, a big part of it is the demographics that are there. It's not the same people you see at the Viking game at all.
Well, true. I mean, you have a true culture that likes soccer here for what it is. And you get all those people, they got the flags, they got the drums, they got the blowhorn, you got the scarves, you got it's something different over there.
The one I would eliminate will probably blow you away, Peanut, but I think by far the worst in this town is the Wild and the XL. It's a stale if you go a lot. If you're at every game, it's like, can we please mix it up from 24 years ago?
I'll say this though:
it's the same song and the same whistle. It's so predictable. It's just like, down. It's just like stop.
Sure, But I'm saying
all of it's just got to change.
The moment that I'm thinking of when I think of that, when the Wild are playing well, when it's a competitive home game.
Oh, from an environment of the fans, I would agree with that.
When they score a goal,
but when they're not playing well, it's like it's kind of brutal.
When they score though, and things are moving, there's very
and
few
when it's the playoffs, it's really special.
I would agree.
But if I want to go for like feeling like I did when I was a kid, I go to a Gopher basketball game.
Ooh.
It's so special.
I have not been to the barn in 10 years.
It just has that smell. It just
there's something unique.
It's pretty special.
There's something unique to. I know this is probably a little bit unpopular, but I know it's going on today. They have the next round of the championships for college wrestling right now. Going over and watching some Gopher wrestling. I would say that is probably hands down one of the more electric environments. Period in college, in professional.
That place with the overhang.
Oh my gosh!
There was nothing like it to watch a Gopher hockey game at. It was loud. It was like both of those facilities for me as a kid, I preferred over the pro because it just, the old guy in the yellow jacket would be there. You could smell the popcorn, the wood of the bleachers, just the way it was. It was very, very, very special and not cosmopolitan at all. But like I think the Vikings games, as far as like their in-game treatment, as far as the music, as far as the things they do, and just the environment, that glass window, the building is perfect. Like you cannot go wrong there. I think Target Field is as good of an environment to watch a baseball game from. And when the weather is perfect and it's really nice, I mean, it's hard to complain about that. It is baseball. There's only so much you can do for that. Gopher football games are interesting.
Yep.
Those aren't bad either. Like I think by and large the experiences here are really, really good.
Yes.
So I'm not, if I were to pick a single one that I've experienced, I would definitely go with US Bank.
Sure.
Because I think they just do it special. But I need to experience Allianz to be able to make that distinction.
If you factor in value, I would agree with you that Excel is on the bottom of the list because you should, for when you play 40 games, home games,
41,
and they're charging $130 for a decent seat
per ducat.
It's too much. It's too much. For the Twins, you can still go for $20 and walk around and have a great time.
You can.
The Viking game, you can go for $130, and there's only 8 of them.
Right. Well, then that becomes like a
so the value.
You can get a couple of season tickets on maybe not the hugest income.
Yeah, NHL's too expensive.
It's priced out, but they're ticket based too. They need that. Final question. Is that good? Then can we do final minute?
Yep. Sure. And then final minute. That's it.
Are we or have we graduated past this bullshit Homer Hankey crap? Can we do we need to pull out some towel for every playoff? Can we put them away? Do we agree or disagree? I say get rid of him.
Yeah.
You.
General Mills, thank you, but we're
good.
moving on.
We've Star Tribune. We're past it.
yeah.
No more hankies. Okay. Well, that was simple enough. Okay, let's go with some parting thoughts. We covered the Vikings pretty much in their off season so far, which has been quite impressive. The Minnesota Wild, we kind of touched on them a little bit. The injuries are really concerning with them. Right when I want to turn them off and say, you guys are finished, they come up with a big win like they did the other night, that 4-0 win.
Well, how about Hartman coming back
Seattle.
and scoring the first goal?
They absolutely needed him to score, and they need him to do that, which was huge. And right when you want to say you guys are done, you're going to get caught, they kind of like find a way to stay alive. They've got 83 points. I believe they got to get to 92 to 93 to make the playoffs. So they got to win 4 or 5 more games out of their remaining games, and then hope that St. Louis doesn't, who looks like they're running the table, hope they don't run the table. I mean, for this team to get into the playoffs would be great. To do anything with what they've got is a stretch. If the players they have that are hurt come back and they actually stay healthy, that's fine. I think we got a bigger issue with Kaprizov because now he's starting to look as fragile as Buxton and Lewis.
Oh, boy.
So that's the take there. The goaltending has been outstanding. They've been really good in a lot of different ways. So, I mean, they've exceeded expectations to me.
What about Eck?
No matter what happens.
Does he have a
gotta
chance to
score
come
goals.
back? Does
I don't know. I mean, I think I don't even know if they're skating yet.
Okay.
Brodeen is. Okay,
Brodeen's
and then on the
skating, okay.
Twins, did you guys see the video of Lewis blowing the hammy?
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
It's not
No.
serious, though.
No,
You didn't see that?
No,
I didn't see it.
Running down, running down first base, blows a hammy.
But Wags, they say it's not a serious injury. He'll miss the opener, though.
Okay, I mean, once a hammy, always a hammy.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I mean? You know, Ricky.
But
Anderson.
I saw that after you had mentioned it, and I did see
I'm
it.
gonna look it up quick and
But
see.
it did
Yeah,
say
it's crazy.
It did say not a serious injury, but will unfortunately miss the
Well,
opener.
we here at the DigiFan podcast will be monitoring that very,
Yes.
very closely.
Yeah.
So he's out. So the injury woes are already starting to, but we'll see how they do. I'm really excited to get this thing started. Hope springs eternal. Is that the saying? Spring hopes eternal. Yeah, hope. Springs.
Oh no, that did not look good. That did not look good.
To me, that looks like it's more than a day or two or a week or two.
That does not look good.
That looks like it could be nagging, if you will. He has bruising back there for sure. No question.
That
Okay,
is not
so
good.
there's that.
Wow, okay.
The Timberwolves, we kind of went through my frustrations with not beating bad teams. And, I mean, you know what? The problem with not being in the 6 is you just open yourself up to variables to get in. Didn't you? Thank you. Okay. That's just like nobody's listening.
Yeah. The Wild are like in the top 12 or top 10 for power rankings. Whatever that means.
It's stunning, but
Yeah.
and then what else?
Do this 'cause of their goaltending or
without
what?
their top 3 players.
Okay.
I'm just saying,
they
like-
banked points.
Yeah.
They were the top team in the league in early December.
They got to score goals.
They got really hurt. They got really broken down,
yeah.
and they're looking like a tired thing. I think the one thing that has stood out to me with that is, did you see the article in The Athletic about trade deadline moves and things like that? It just seems like there's a constant push on, like, you didn't do enough. You should have bolstered the lineup, you know. And all Billy was saying from what I was reading is, at what price am I going to do that? I'm not going to give up Danila Yurov. He's not going away, and a second pick. I'm not giving up those types of players just so you guys can write about it, and then we can have a little
I
bit
love
of a
that.
run
That
that's
was
not
great
guaranteed.
comments.
He was 100% right.
Yeah.
And so, but the articles kept coming about, like, see, they're broken, they're tired, they suck, you know, and you know, the truth is they were broken, they were tired, and they did suck. So now, what type of professionals are they? Did they find it? They are, but they could have another swoon again. You just don't know. So I think with that team, it's just, you know, you kind of watch it and just take what you get, my opinion.
For sure.
I've been watching the Valspar Championship because my daughter's a part of that down in Tampa.
Ooh.
Okay.
And that's been a lot of fun. They got a nice field going on down there, but the wind yesterday was just brutal. Like, it was throwing balls. Even on the greens, it was moving balls. It was quite interesting. Tough day yesterday. Looking forward to seeing how that shakes down as things continue to move forward there. And what I love the way the PGA has been going is every year there's probably anywhere between 4 to 6 new guys that are legit and that pop onto the scene, like Oberg last
I
year.
like seeing those young guys.
There's
for sure.
a ton of them. You know, those young guys, believe it or not, were JT. They were Jordan Spieth. Now those guys are struggling mid-30s guys, and all these young guys are blasting away and playing some really good golf.
Confident.
It's really fun to
Yeah,
it's really
yeah.
fun to do, and I can't wait for my Sunday afternoon doing absolutely nothing and watching that.
Yeah, you wonder if the way they play the game now is like hard on their bodies.
I think so.
Yeah.
And they're in such good shape that the force that's a lot of it too. All right, go ahead, Doc. Bring us home.
Yeah. Let's look
Well-
it back again.
Hey, fellas, great job. We missed El Teagues,
We did.
but he'll watch. But from the Meta Sports League studios, this is DigiFan Podcast. This is episode 16, boys. Join us every Friday at 12:30 Central, 1:30 Eastern for Wags, JC, El Teagues, and Peanut.
Hey, enjoy your March Madness weekend, everyone.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah,
we didn't even touch on that. Oh,
Didn't
God.
even touch on it. You know, it's all good. Hey, we'll be back next week, next Friday, 1:30
Talking about
p.m.
the grade
EST. We'll talk about how great March Madness will be this weekend and next week.
Yeah, you can carry that one. Go for it. That's all you.
we'll
I'll
carry-
just
Let's
listen.
go.
We'll
Let's
carry
go.
next
Let's
week.
go.
You
Let's
guys-
go.
I'll just sit back and listen.
We'll
What I'll
carry-
do is
we'll
I'll
jump
do
in
the
next
old phone
week.
scrolling like you guys.
All right, boys. See you.
See ya. Have a good weekend, you guys.